Hey guys, welcome to 10 in 10, the conversation starter show where we list our top 10 in 10 minutes. This week we're going to be looking at our top 10 pop punk bands of all time.
Yeah, so just to clarify, we're looking at not the greatest bands of all time. We're also looking at just pop punk bands and just our favourite pop punk bands.
Yeah, so because we're looking at pop punk, this is going to exclude the sort of emo, post-hardcore scene. So bands like Taking Back Sunday, My Chem, AFI, all those bands aren't in this list. Even Jimmy Eat World and Dashboard Confessional, they're not in this list.
Yeah.
And not going to include punk rock bands, so things like Rancid, NoFX, obviously. There's going to be a fairly clear line between pop punk and punk. Let's get into it. Okay, mate, I'm going to start with my top 10.
Who you got?
With my top 10, number 10 here is going to be the band Rufio.
Okay, yeah.
So Rufio is a band that they're not overly huge, okay? So you have to be really into the scene to kind of heard of them if you're into the Warped Tour scene, but just love them. They got some shredding guitar work on there, really catchy songs, quite a few albums that I really like, even their newest one, The Comfort of Home, I think it's called. Got some bangers on there. And yeah, he's kind of got a voice that does annoy some people because it's quite airy and high, but again, if you're fine with his voice, you get some really good songs out of it.
I only know them really because they do like flips and everything on stage. That's the biggest reason I know Rufio. I don't know too much about him personally.
Yeah, pretty cool.
But in my number 10, I've gone arguably the godfathers of pop punk. I've gone Green Day.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, I know they flirt with like the punk line as well. You can tell their heritage in the scene. They've really set a platform to come.
Yeah.
But even from their older stuff like Basket Case and When I Come Around to like their big album American Idiot, which I know gets a bit kind of flirts the line a little bit more, but those songs in there are incredible. Anything they've done recently I don't really know, but I love their older stuff, albums like Dookie and everything else, and I love the American Idiot album. So yeah, number 10 I've gone Green Day.
Yeah. I'm going to echo that with my number 9 as Green Day as well. Yeah. Now, same thing, some people might get a bit upset because they obviously are, if we're doing the greatest pop punk bands, they're easily the top 2, easily. But for me personally, I do love some Green Day, particularly American Idiot album, and then, they're kind of their later 90s stuff as well, from Dookie onwards, that kind of time period, mid-90s to late 90s. If you make their top 10, you make their greatest hits album, Green Day, I'm going to be loving it. But again, I just don't listen to enough of them to warrant going above this.
I agree.
And I don't fanboy about them as much as other people do. But I mean, American Idiot's got to be one of the best pop punk albums of all time for sure. Really good. So number 9 for me is Green Day as well.
Man, my number 9 I've gone Millencolin. So a band that not everyone knows. They're from like Sweden or Norway, one of those places, but they just have some good kind of skater pop punk songs. You know, they don't take themselves seriously. Their songs are catchy as they're just good, man. I don't know what else to say about them. They're just a fun band to listen to. If you want just easy listening pop punk, chuck on some Millencolin and you won't be disappointed.
They are good. I haven't listened to a lot of them. I definitely know them and I've definitely heard songs and they are quite good, but I've just never had that time to really get into them. Never sort of listened to full albums of them or anything like that. Okay, mate. Number 8 for me now. Now this is going to one of the, I guess, bigger bands, one of the heavyweights of the pop punk scene in the early 2000s is Yellowcard.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so Yellowcard had a big following, had a lot of fans, were doing some big tours and things like that. They were kind of that level just below the biggest pop punk bands. But I mean, like Ocean Avenue was a huge hit, like massive hit in that, I can't remember, it's like 2003 or something. But again, their Ocean Avenue album is such a good pop punk album if you go back and listen to that. And I really like Paper Walls, which is I think their 3rd album. Those 2 albums are by far their best to me. They dropped off a bit in the more recent albums, so that's why they're kind of lower for me. But I mean, if I just took again their top 10 songs, I love me some Yellowcard.
Yeah.
And cool how they add in the violin.
Add in the violin, incredible musos. The drama is off the chain.
Drama is outstanding.
They're just really good. So they're not on my list, but I just enjoy listening to them. Yeah. My number 8, I've gone Paramore.
Yeah.
So Hayley Williams, that's crushing it as a girl kind of pop punk singer. Yeah. Takes it from, I guess, Avril Lavigne, which was cornier, to kind of an actual taken seriously in the scene type pop punk band. Yeah. The band itself are ridiculous. They're chucking offbeats everywhere. They're super tight. The songs are catchy and powerful, and it set the way for not only girl singers and paved that platform, but they also went mainstream and pumped that too. Rocking the Twilight soundtrack as well, but. Paramore, man, just loved them.
Yeah, man. I'm going to give out a shout out to Tsunami Bomb. I don't know if you know that band. I think Paramore kind of took what they did and made it more mainstream, but they were a kind of cool punk or pop punk band with a chick singer as well. But yeah, Paramore's got some great songs. All right, number 7 for me. Now, this is definitely probably the least known band on my list. It's going to be a shout out to an Aussie band here, but probably my favourite Australian band and a really, really good band. They do flirt the line with pop punk a bit, but is Anti-Skeptic.
Yeah, underrated.
Okay, so underrated for sure. They just don't get the recognition they deserve because they've just got some killer songs, really good musicians like the guitarist Andy Kitchen. He sings and plays some wicked lines. The bass player is awesome. The drummer's really cool too. I've actually met them. Really nice guys. And yeah, they're just awesome. So if you haven't heard of them, go check out Anti-Skeptic, particularly the Aurora album. And there's like some songs like Nothing to Say is just a killer song. Called is a really good song. They've just got so many great songs. Don't get the recognition. So shout out to my boys, Anti-Skeptic.
Shout out Aussies as well.
Yeah.
Let's go. My number 7, I've gone Mayday Parade. So they kind of, I guess, are that newer age pop punk. They have 2 singers. Both singers work really well together, and they do kind of, I guess, flirt the line between pop punk and maybe even that emo-ish.
Yeah.
But they're definitely pop punk enough to go in there. Really cool band, really, really catchy kind of hooks and lyrics.
Yeah.
And just really fun to listen to. So I do understand they're a bit on the kind of later end of the scene, but really, really fun, really enjoyable to listen to.
Yeah, they're one of those bands because they're on the later end. I was kind of out of my pop punk phase kind of when they were coming in, so didn't listen to them that much, but what I've heard, they're pretty catchy. Okay, number 6 for me now. Now, these guys are probably the unsung heroes of pop punk, well, not so much recently, but New Found Glory. I mean, they have been doing banger after banger pop punk albums for, 20 years now? Something stupid like that. They're kind of just like the kings of pop punk, really, because they've just stayed so strong for so long. They're so likable as well. Like Jordan, the lead singer, and just the guys in the band, like the bass player's hilarious. They're really good.
Fat dude with his shirt off all the time.
Fat dude shirt, outstanding. And I mean, like, that's the thing. They're also one of those bands that have their roots in hardcore, particularly their guitarist Chad. Because he's got the hardcore background. So they've just got that kind of cool hardcore undertone, but then super, super, super bubblegum pop punk. So many good songs like Hit or Miss and All Downhill From Here is probably my favourite song of theirs. Like, just so many good songs of them.
Yeah, love it, man. My number 6, I've got another kind of newer band, but All Time Low. So, I think in the newer end of it, they made it pretty mainstream, had a couple of really big songs, but also just smashed catchy lyrics and catchy hooks and catchy guitar. It's just so fun to listen to, so enjoyable, and the songs are still just bangers. So
Dear Marie is like
Dear Marie coming in is just so good. That intro, you just the minute it comes in with the guitar and singing, you just I'm feeling
one of the
this.
best choruses in pop punk. For sure.
So All Time Low, just really enjoy them. Go check them out.
Alright, mate, so we're going to do a couple of honourable mentions here before we go to our top 5. So for me, there's one that's kind of going to hurt Owen a little bit here, and it does hurt me a bit, is I'm not including the Ataris on my top 10. Only because if I take out San Dimas, that's cool, and if I take out So Long a Story, the album, there's not much else I really know of theirs or like that much, especially their newer stuff I wasn't into. So their So Long a Story album, go and listen, that's one of the best pop punk albums ever. But as a band as a whole, they're not going to be top 10 for me. Any others for you for top,
mate, I had kind of like bands like The Almost and The Academy Ears and those bands. Jack's Mannequin, which I really love, but couldn't really fit it into the pop punk scene. And then Goldfinger, which I really enjoyed Goldfinger. I love what they do, but I don't like enough of them.
Same thing.
To put in my list.
Top 5 songs, incredible, but then, going past that, I don't listen to them as much. Another one for me is Zebrahead's kind of cool band. They, again, don't take themselves seriously. You have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. They're being silly a lot of the time. But man, they have some really cool songs, especially that Broadcast of the World album's really good. And even all those ones like Simple Plan, Good Charlotte, as much as they kind of suck and I don't like them anymore, but as a kid they were awesome. And Young and Hopeless album from Good Charlotte's a really good album.
Now, I saw Simple Plan live once and was honestly incredible. Their live show was so good. Yeah,
they're just a bit corny. That's
very corny.
Very corny. But honourable mentions for sure. So going to my number 5 here. Now these guys do fit into that kind of corny stage, particularly their first album, but I have a soft spot for them for no good reason. I don't know why, I just really like them, is Mest. Okay, so Mest is a pop punk band. They kind of are just definitive of that genre, like New Found Glory. Just the vocals, the type of music, they have that kind of like really into rancid kind of punk rock as their undertone, but then super bubblegum pop. Don't listen to What's the Dealio, it's the worst song ever, and I'm sure they're probably embarrassed of it. But if you go and listen to some Mess, listen to their self-titled album and Wasting Time, I think it is the second one. And even their newest stuff, like the Photographs album is really good. And I mean, their newest album, not what you expected as well, a bit heavier. But I've seen them live, got to stand on stage and sing Cadillac with him,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is pretty cool. But yeah, love me some Mest. Bit of a guilty pleasure.
Man, my number 5, I've gone Sum 41.
Oh, yes.
Just love them.
Yeah.
Shout out to them for also getting a couple of mainstream songs there, but you see them start off early on with Fat Lip and In Too Deep and that just fun college kind of pop punk.
Yeah.
Into going a bit heavier and a bit harder, and you can really tell that's where, especially the guitarists, their roots are and stuff.
Yes, for sure.
But like Still Waiting and Hellsong and those songs there, that album is just so good. Still Waiting is one of my favourite songs of all time, probably. It's just so good. So Sum 41, they're just killing it.
Oh, they're awesome, yeah. Okay, number 4 for me. Now, this is the band that Owen hasn't listened to as much as I have, but I still think they're kind of the other grandfathers of pop punk as we know it today with Green Day, is Mxpx.
Yeah.
Okay, Mxpx, Mike Herrera particularly, is one of my favourite musicians out there. They've just been doing it for so long and so well for so long. It's hard not to put them in the top 5 at least. And they've got so many good albums as well. Like I really, really enjoy pretty much everything they've done, but particularly their sort of early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s sort of stuff. Now, the reason they're not a bit higher for me is just because they haven't evolved much. That's the thing that a lot of people... That's the thing. It's kind of the double-edged sword. They've been doing the same thing for a long time, but they've also been making the same music for a long time, so it gets a bit lower. But, I mean, if you're talking about definitive pop punk bands, Mxpx deserves all the credit they can get. Like,
yeah, as you said, I didn't really listen to much of them growing up, which is strange because I was into that scene. I loved it all, but I've listened to them a bit more lately, and I actually really like them. Really enjoy them.
Some great songs.
And as you said, it's one of those double-edged swords between you don't want to sell out, I guess, but you're also not evolving. You're saying pumping out the same albums each time.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then my number 4, I've gone, as you said, probably the king of bubblegum pop. I've gone bubblegum pop punk. I've gone New Found Glory.
Yeah.
My Friends Over You is just such a good song. Hit or miss, as you said.
Yeah.
They've just got so many just fun, good songs. If you ever watched American Pie, their songs are just littered throughout because it just it sums up that kind of time and that era, which is what I grew up in.
Yeah.
Just loved it, man. So
I think my favourite album's I think it's Catalyst, the one with All Downhill From Here on it.
All Downhill From Here.
Such a good album. Go listen to that. There's like 7 or 8 songs in there that are just so good.
Yeah. And they're a band that did kind of evolve. I haven't listened to much of whatever they've produced lately, but even like they're from screen to stereo CDs and stuff like that. Like they just mix it up and I like it. I like those covers.
Yeah.
But their earlier stuff, man, I just loved it.
Yeah. They just know their niche and they smash it.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3 for me, buddy. Now this is probably, if we're doing the greatest pop punk bands, this is the other one that's going to be 1 or 2 with Green Day. Blink-182. Yeah. I mean, there's not much more you can say other than they're just the kings of pop punk with Green Day. They defined the genre in mainstream. They made it mainstream to be pop punk. They made it cool to have tattoos and spiky hair and all that kind of stuff. They were the ones that made it cool. And I mean, they've got so many good songs, particularly off Enema of the State, Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. Yeah. The self-titled album.
Self-titled's really good.
Even Neighborhoods, I think, is a great album.
Mark Tom and Travis Show.
Yeah, I mean, that's great album, live album. And then they've got, even their new stuff's not as bad as people make out it is, but they've obviously lost something without Tom DeLonge there. Yeah. But you can't have a pop punk list and not have Blink-182 in the top 3. I mean, they're the bomb.
I agree, man. That's why I put them number 3.
There you go.
Loved them.
Exactly.
As you said, they're just bringing in like the low fenders with the dickies and the Vans and
sure.
Just taking the mickey out themselves the whole time.
Yeah.
And for me, like the biggest thing with Blink-182 and why they got so famous is just there were 3 dudes who were okay musos, but set the platform that anyone can play. Apart from, shout out to Travis.
Travis is great.
A freak. I'm talking like earlier stuff, Damn It, and those type of things. When I started playing bass and my mates had a guitar, my other mate had a drum kit, we were playing Blink songs because we could play Blink songs.
Yeah, Damn It's the first song you learn on a guitar.
And I think there's something for that, and it just set the platform for so many pop punk bands to come.
Yeah.
They're just, as I said, they take the mickey on themselves. They set that college humour scene.
And they're just so catchy.
It's so catchy.
They're just so good at writing
Hate on Blink all you want if you are that type of person, but you can't deny there's something about being able to write a good, catchy song, and they just nail it.
And to be honest, usually that comes from people who aren't songwriters. Because I'm a songwriter, and you actually realise how hard it is to write a catchy pop song.
Yeah.
It's hard. It actually is hard. Like, even though technically it's not hard to play, it's hard to write on there. So, shout out to Blink. Number 2 for me now, this is the band that probably defined my childhood just about as like a teenage boy, Sum 41.
Sum 41.
Okay, shout out to my cousin Andrew if he ever listens to this. But Sum 41, just in that early 2000s pop punk scene, I just loved, and particularly Does This Look Infected, that album in Chuck, where they went a bit heavier, but so many good songs like Still Waiting, Over My Head, the Hell song, Okay, In Too Deep, so many good songs from them. And they've gotten better with time. Like, they don't get the recognition anymore. But again, I've said this on top bands. Go and watch a Sum 41 concert from like the last couple of years, and they're playing like Metallica medley. Metallica medleys. They're playing their heavier stuff. They're still playing some of their old stuff, but they are really tight live. And particularly their guitarist Dave. He's
so good.
Such a good band. So yeah, Sum 41's number 2 for me. Pop punk bands.
Love it, mate. My number 2, I've gone Fall Out Boy, which I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, and I get it. And kind of anything of their, pretty much from Under the Cork Tree, I love, and everything before that, I really, really loved. After that, I like some songs, like Thanks for the Memories, that kind of era.
Oh, yeah, I like that album.
It's kind of like, it's good, but they kind of get a bit overproduced and go away from where they were. But Take This to Your Grave album, and then From Under the Cork Tree album are just incredible. And for me, they took pop punk and made it kind of more technical. They put some licks and some music in places where I wouldn't expect it to go, especially in a basic pop punk song. Patrick Stump is just a great singer and great lyricist, and just loved it. So Fall Out Boy, just really, really enjoyed it. Go listen to the first 2 albums specifically, and you won't be disappointed.
And realistically, Patrick Stump and Brendan Urie, even though we're not including Panic because they're not a pop punk band, like maybe their first album, but that's about it. But those 2 singers, they're like definitely the best in that genre.
They're the 2 best.
Okay, number 1 for me. Now, this should be no surprise if you've seen my top 10 bands list, but number 1 for me is Reliant K. Now, just because these guys, lyrically, the best lyricists in pop punk, for sure, for me, just with these smart puns and pop culture references and all that kind of stuff. He's just brilliant. So many catchy songs. If you go listen to the album, and even Two Lefts, I always get mixed up with the title, but the one with Forward Motion, everything like 2 lefts don't make a right, but 3 do or something. And, you know, everything they do, the 5-score album as well is incredible. Just go listen to Reliant K, and they're also the band that kind of, as a kid growing up in church, stuff like that, they kind of were able to transition between, I guess, Christian music and punk music, and they just did it so well. Again, they don't take themselves too seriously because there's a lot of references and things like that in their songs, but go listen to like the best of Reliant K on Spotify. You won't be disappointed. Incredible band. Yeah,
a band that, because I didn't grow up Christian in church, I didn't listen to them as much, but I have listened to them a bit lately, and again, they're really, really good. Love them. My number 1, again, wouldn't be a surprise to people who know me, and also to people that watch my favourite band list, but the Ataris are my number 1 band, number 1 pop punk band. Just love them. Chris Rowe can write a song kind of up there with anyone. His lyrics he puts in are so good. The emotion he kind of gets through, and he's kind of raspy, almost screaming, but it's not. When he kind of belts out verses and choruses are so good.
Yeah, he's good.
Love the guitar. I didn't like Welcome to the Night and things that came after that. And I thought like he kind of went away from
that's the reason
what he was doing, and I get it.
Their catalog's too small of the good stuff.
Yeah. But as you said, Soul and Astoria is easily my favorite album of all time.
It's great.
San Dimas album is just so good as well.
Yeah.
And they have a couple like littered throughout there that are really good as well. But yeah, man, he's just can fit so much emotion without being emo, but also into a song, and his lyrics are just bang on. And I just love the Ataris guys. If you haven't listened to them, please just listen to them, okay? They're just so good, and I really, really recommend them.
What we might suggest for our 2 number 1s, what's 2 songs you'd suggest people to go listen to check out the Ataris?
Cool, man. I'm going to go 3, okay?
Okay, go.
Because I'm going to go 2 off their Song and the Story album. I've got Song and the Story, the self-titled track of that. And then I've also got In This Diary, I think is really, really good. And then I'm going to go actually just San Dimas High School Football Rules. As just like a pop punk song is so good. I played it for my grade 12 music, if you shout out to my grade 12 music class and Josh EV. But just go listen to the Song and the Story album. There's so many, like song after song after song is just good. There's no bad really songs on it.
It's one of those albums, if you listen, like the first like 7 songs are just banger after banger. It is a great album. That's what I mean. Atari's are great. For me, for Reliant K, I'm going to say check out probably Be My Escape for sure. I So Hate Consequences. It's just so pop punk. It's not funny. It's just so catchy. And then probably like Pressing On's a good older one of theirs. Is a really good pop punk sort of one. The newer stuff as well. If you want to check out something newer, I'd probably check out Forget Not Slow Down. One of my favorite songs.
That's my favorite of theirs.
It's not as pop punky, but it's a really good song. So check them out. Let us know what you guys think. Again, we are the Conversation Starter Show. We want to hear what you guys think. We want to hear your top 10 or top 3 or whatever you think. And we also want to hear who had the better list. Who do you think had the best pop punk list? Owen or myself? We'll put them up after this. See you next time, guys.
Thanks, guys.